She and I retired early, and it's been amazing. But there are a number of things that we wish we realized before retiring early and starting planning travel full time. Is that right?
That's right.
So in this video, we're going to share some of the things with you. Ready?
Let's go.
Hi, and welcome to the Adventures of Dave.
And Nikki.
We are a retired couple that is planning to travel the world full time on $5,000 a month. And we're glad you're here. In this video, we're going to talk about things that we wish we realized before retiring early to travel full time.
One of the first things we wish we knew earlier is how affordable other parts of the world are compared to the United States, and particularly our little corner of the US, which is California.
Southern California.
Southern California.
Yeah.
We had no idea until being exposed to other YouTubers and travelers how much more affordable rent, food, transportation, bonus items, what I consider bonus items here, like massages and facials and things like that, are in other countries.
Like pedicures.
Pedicures.
Yeah.
Some examples that we found when traveling, for instance, in Mexico City, cost 22 cents to ride the train. That's crazy.
That's like for each train. Every time you get in a train station, you slide your little card, and it costs 22 cents to go anywhere within this massive city. Super convenient and affordable.
So it's very affordable to get around. And in Thailand, for instance, $12 for a massage, and that's on the high end. We'll be staying in Bulgaria in a few weeks for a while, and it's about $60 a night. We always thought that vacations, well, that travel in general was like a vacation. A vacation from Southern California to another part of the world involves a long flight both ways. That's the biggest chunk of the trip. In slow travel, you get to another continent and then we stay somewhere for a month and we just take a little hop maybe to the next city or the next country. And that next leg of the trip costs very little. So it's not the same as vacationing where we have to get a round trip to and from the US to Europe or even South America.
Right.
So the big picture that we realize is that we could afford a better quality of life elsewhere if we left.
While spending probably less, right?
Right.
Yeah. And we owe a lot of that thought process to other YouTubers that we follow, people that came kind of before us, people that share their budget breakdowns down to tiny details. We love numbers. So a big shout out to those people that gave us the confidence that we can able to do this. And we promise that on this channel, when we do our things, that we will return a favor. When we set our plans to fully launch in a few months, a lot of our videos will include budget breakdowns, exactly what we spend, whether, it's expensive day or a day that we decide to live frugally. Pastries, coffees, you gonna get it all? Street foods. Yeah. So on the point of just affordability and just finances in general, another things that we wish that we will have realized before retiring early is believe in the plan that we set with our financial advisors. In one of our videos in the past, we kind of spoke about our experiences of finding one and working with one and how that kind of just steered us in the right direction, having a plan, forming goals, and adhering to that plan. But still, human nature sometimes plays tricks on our minds, and I know it did for us. Ever since we retired, at the beginning of the point when we retired, it took a little while to shift that mindset to like, all right, we're doing this, and can we really afford this?
Especially after decades of being frugal and saving and packing it away for later. Once the later gets there, it's quite a switch of thinking.
It was really hard for me because we're quite diligent with one mindset and having to flip the switch to another. And, there's always the fear of money running out. And we were hitting those retirement calculators hard the first month, 2 or 3, like, all right, can we really do this? And it seems to be working out. We've been retired for about 3.5 years now as of the filming of this video,
What helped us to actually start spending our hard saved money on retirement was the idea that you get more value out of experiences. So spending it on experiences and relationships brings much more joy to us in the end than spending it on things. And also that we were in a window of opportunity here. We heard of a lot of retirees saying their regrets, and most of them said they regretted either not retiring sooner or not traveling more. So we're in that magic window where we have the means, we're healthy, we still have our minds about us for the time being. And, this is our go-go year. So we need to go now and not keep waiting until perhaps a disability sets in or health issues.
Right. When we were planning for retirement, we did a lot of research, and one of the rule of thumb from just the finance world in general about withdrawal rates from your nest egg once you're retired is what's called the 4% rule. You probably heard of that. It's like extracting 4% of your nest egg and having assuming so much returns and have it last for so long. We thought that was gospel, right? Mm-hmm. After retirement and talking with other retirees and having our own experiences in a few years now, we realized that's not the case. Retirement withdrawal and spending is not linear. So what really happens in real life with retirees is that the first couple of years or first handful of years of retirement, we tend to spend more, like the curve goes higher. And these spendings usually coincides with traveling, home improvement, and things like that, things we always want to do. Invest in hobbies. During the middle years, it slows down a little bit because our body kind of just, all right, we adapt to things and we're kind of settled down a little ways. We're like that initial joyous burst has passed a little bit, right? And toward the end, spending slows down drastically. The healthcare spending goes up at that point, but everything else, like travel and home improvement, dips quite a bit. So the curve goes up and it slows down. So there's like the go-go years, like Nikki was mentioning, the slow-go years, and then no-go years. And so realizing this now, we have let go of this fear that we're going to run out of money, basically. And we wish we realized that earlier because we just might have retired even earlier. So the next point we're going to talk about things we wish we realized is that our ability and confidence to plan these complex trips. Planning is hard. There's a lot of pieces to juggle, from flights to hotels to like excursions to affordability and all that. So right after we retired, we used a service for the first handful of trips, right? Mm-hmm. Something called Trip Masters.
And they were great.
They were great. They're basically a service which is an aggregate of hotels, flights, excursions, and they're able to package it pretty easily. You tell your destinations, how long you want to be there, where you're coming from, and they just give you a package. And it was really nice, but it doesn't really offer that much flexibility to what we want to do, especially as we want to dip our toes slower and longer into slow travel. They had a cap on the length of these excursions. So we just started saying, hey, man, let's just try this ourselves and see what happens. And so we did. Our past few trips, we have completely planned ourselves. These multi-stops, multi-countries, flying over the world. We were able to do it, and we had the best time. We're getting a lot of confidence doing that. Naturally, we both worked out like a division of labor of who does what during trip plannings, right? Mm-hmm. So I handles most of like the flights and logistics of the travels and most of the accommodations, but always, I get her approval before pressing the buy button. Happy wife, happy life.
He shows me multiple choice.
Yeah.
And we pick it together.
Yeah. It's happy. It's great that we need to like agree on, do we want to stay somewhere? Is this flight time okay? Is this layover too long? That kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And Nikki has her stuff to plan, which is...
I like to plan the on-the-ground things, the sites we're going to see, the areas we're going to explore. And what I like to do is take Google Maps for each city and you can save a list for that city and put the things on it. Maybe you can put some notes in there, like the time it's open or how much it costs. I always like to explore the low cost and free stuff first because that's always fun. And we don't pack too much stuff in. What we do is we pick a couple things we want to see and we enjoy meandering and exploring along the way.
Yeah, she does a great job of doing that. So for example, if we have a hotel in a particular location and we're there for, let's say, 4 or 5 days, we would focus each day on a certain location away from a hotel. Let's say, okay, today we're going to spend it northeast of a hotel location. So we'll hit everything up there. The next day we'll go southwest, that kind of thing. It works really well for us.
Yeah, we do not schedule our itinerary too tightly or try to do too much in one day. We like to schedule our downtime and we like our afternoon naps.
Oh yeah. We're of that age, and maybe you are too, I don't know. Definitely always usually schedule like a pastry snack before nap time. We also take turns and we're both pretty diligent about tracking our spending almost to the penny, from like a train ticket to a cup of coffee to obviously meals and souvenirs or little things. So we use an app called Travel Spend, which has worked really well for us so far. So in the future videos on the road, you're going to see the results of that app and screenshots and some of the really, really cool color-coded graphs and reports from that app. So I'm looking forward to doing that with you guys.
We're still learning and adapting to each new place we go. What we learned in our first few countries was the first trip to Costa Rica, we overpacked so much.
Guilty.
You guys, I had like 8 tie-dye dresses with me.
I mean, she looked great in them, and I think, did you wear them all?
No, I couldn't get to them all.
It was a perfect weather, and what she wore was great, but yeah.
And it was kind of amusing when we got home. And even after each trip we do, when we get home, we take stuff out and we compare to each other. Oh, I had 3 shirts I didn't wear. I had this much, because we're always trying to pare down.
Yeah. And we, at that time we had these pretty massive suitcases. It was suitcases that was left over from before we retired, and they were not meant to be like slow travel and stuff. They're just these massive things.
Yeah. I also learned, not just traveling, but at home after retiring, that I need a routine in my day. During the week at home, I have certain days where I lunch with the ladies or I go to yoga and I work out in the morning, and that little structure kind of helps give some direction to my life.
Yeah.
Also, when we travel, we do some of the same things, a little reflection and meditation in the morning with our coffee. We like to exercise in the morning. We like to have some downtime in the afternoon. A little bit of structure tends to lend more stability to my life.
Yeah. And that's good to have, huh?
It is.
Yeah. What else did you realize about yourself from these travels so far?
Well, I learned that I'm a city girl.
Really?
I lived in suburbs my entire life, and I thought that I would want to go live on a very, not very populated island or up in the mountains or something like that.
Like a big farm.
Like a big farm. But when we got to Hanoi and Ho Chi Minh, these are huge cities. I love them. I just love them. I love the energy.
Yeah.
I love going downstairs from wherever you're staying and everything's just right there at your fingertips. And it changes. Evening times, different vendors come out. I just love the energy and the everything. Now, I love a nice quiet beach from time to time, but as far as spending most of our time, I want a big city.
Yeah. It was easy for me because I'm from a big city, so it's kind of natural. So I feel very, very home in city. So I'm really happy about, her realization of that fact.
Yeah, I used to say I'm a country mouse, but no, I'm a city girl.
Yeah.
We also got a lot of unexpected growth out of our travels. We think it made us better people.
That's definitely something that we wish we would learn earlier about traveling. We would have done much more of it. it changes us, you know? It like every time we come back from a trip, long trip, short trip, doesn't matter. I experience growth. I experience a change of perspective. I see things more from other people's eyes.
Mhm.
And one of the big things I do realize is that we, as people, everyone in the world, is much, much more alike each other than different,
Mhm.
regardless of what we've been told by whatever gender that be. You know, everybody loves their children. Everybody, and 99% of the people that we've met in the world are kind, good, and generous. When we were going to Mexico City, gosh, and I told a couple of friends before we left, almost overwhelmingly, they all said, "Oh my God, are you serious? Is it safe? Isn't it dangerous there?" And, you know, after we came back, there's nothing further from the truth. We find people, they're so nice, right?
Yeah, they helped us learn to get the Metro card and saw us looking lost a few times and just stepped in and helped out. Everybody was very warm.
Hmm. Now, things are different culturally, and from a safety standpoint, like they just do things a little differently. Just a quick little story. We were in Mexico City and trying to figure out this train ticket machine. And this guy next to me speaks English and asks if I need any help. And I go, yeah, sure. And my wallet was still somewhat open in my hand, right? And he just really quickly reached in, took out cash out of my hands, figured it out, dealt with the machine, and it just gave me everything back and just smiled and walked away. I mean, that is strange to our culture, but is acceptable there. It just goes to show, you know, people are there, even though they're different, they're definitely nice, kind, and helpful.
That reminds me of another thing that we learned. People are going to tell you stuff. They don't understand your traveling and your desire to be nomadic. You don't have to listen to everyone's opinions. There's going to be people who are traveling already who think they have it dialed in how to do it. We need to do us. We need to find our own style. So, although we can listen and get advice, we're going to find our own style. And there's going to be people at home who just don't get it. They're going to say, that's not safe. What are you going to do if you have to go to the doctor? What about this, that, and the other? And you don't have to listen to them.
And I think one thing that this lifestyle is going to teach us is how to adapt. We're going to already throughout our little shorter trips, I mean, we've faced situations where, all right, well, is this how we planned it? No, no, it's not. What happens now? Well, we just keep going, you know. We're still on the road, we're still traveling, we adapt, and I find some joy and pleasure in able to just figure it out
Right.
and keeping, you know, attitude stays pretty good, huh?
Yeah, if we keep a good attitude about it and don't get frustrated when things don't go as planned, it all works out. And we gain neuroplasticity and keep our brains healthy from learning new things and learning new metro systems
Yeah.
and figuring it out.
And looking at like in Poland, this subway map, which has exactly 0 words of English on it, and just trying to get from one place to another. But we adapt and, you know, we got to where we want to go. So the last thing I want to talk about of what we wish we would have known earlier is this how this travel so far has affected our relationship as a couple.
Mhm.
It has undeniably brought us closer to each other, which is an kind of unexpected but super cool side product. And when you throw people together in situations, it's almost us against the world, and just it brought us tighter. And I wish we would have realized this earlier. We probably would have done this sooner, right?
Yeah, I think it's added a whole new dimension to our relationship. And when we do get to the no-go years, we're going to have a lot to reminisce on.
That's right. Like those happiness dividends that we talked about 2 videos back. Well, with a lot of things that we want to talk about regarding this topic, but we don't want this video to go on forever. So, anything else you want to add, Sweet?
No, we'll cover more stuff in our other videos.
Sounds good. So, if you find this helpful or enjoyable, please click the like button and the subscribe button, yeah,
Yeah.
and also the share button. And we'll be back very soon. And we'll just link to a couple more videos here of the stuff we've done in the past, of our main story of how we got to here and all that. Okay. Thanks for hanging out with us.
Bye.
Bye.